All right. Aloha and welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining in for our very special Spiritual Seekers Support Circle for November 25th, 2021. My name is Brendon, aka Mr. Spider-Man, Skull Babylon, Wolf Shield. And yeah, this is a very special opportunity for us to be able to gather here as a community. And this is one of our private member events. We are making a portion of this recording available for those of you who are not members already, for you guys to be able to check it out, get a feel for it. Probably about like 25 minutes into this, you'll notice the audio will just begin to fade out. Again, at that point, if you would like to be able to continue to experience the full recording of this as well as future events, be sure to join on our Patreon membership, and then you can get access to that, plus access to all the future member events that we do on the regular here within the Paradigm Shift Central community. And I'll explain a little bit more about that as we go. But first and foremost, I'm joined here by some amazing fellow conscious creators. And thank you again, everyone, so much for joining in. So for those of you who are on camera, feel free to just kind of like wave to the people of the internet who are joining into this, sending you guys lots of love. We've got a lot of beautiful faces here. We've got Mathew, we've got Cassidy, Kristen, Kyle, Selomon, Alicia, Indre, Neil, Eloiss, Lacey, and many more people who may not be on camera, but again, are equally present. So with that said, we'll get into this experience just in the next moment. I'm just going to give a little bit of an introduction and what to be able to expect, even for those of you who are listening into the future. So with this spiritual seeker support circle. So again, this is something that with any of the events I do, I always take the opportunity to really just kind of like tap into my own heart space to just be able to reflect on like what is needed within the community. And so this idea is to be able to bring us together and to be able to experience not only a chance to be able to just like kind of connect in with each other, but to be able to connect in with our hearts. And how this is going to work is that throughout this experience tonight, we're going to be going on a journey together through a series of specific question prompts. As we do these question prompts, for those of you who are here in the circle, as well as those of you who are watching this in the future, you'll be invited to be able to reflect on these questions, take some time to really just kind of like see what answers arise within you, encouraging you guys to also be able to journal in the process of doing this as well. And maybe you're just writing it in a physical journal, maybe you're writing it on your computer, and yeah, taking as much time as you need with these questions. And as a group, as we go through these questions, we'll also be taking the opportunity to be able to have some discussion about them as well. So we'll go through each kind of question, and they're in a specific order that kind of brings us through this journey. And then after all those questions, what we're going to do, we're going to go into a little bit of a meditation. And again, the meditation is kind of designed to be able to help you connect in with these aspects of your heart. And then from that, we'll actually be finishing off with a little bit of a dance party, some ecstatic dance at the end, just to be able to kind of like celebrate in that high vibe energy. So of course, today is actually Thanksgiving for some people in parts of the world. As I like to call it, would say we just happen to call it like Shiftsgiving. But again, this in the theme of Thanksgiving and Shiftsgiving, it's a beautiful chance for us to just be here as community. And this is family. This is family right here. So thank you for gathering around at our beautiful, weird, magical family table that we've got. And thank you again so much, everyone, for being a part of this. With this event, for those of you who, again, are either watching this in the future or afterwards, the links are in the info for this video, for the full recording, for the Patreon. And of course, tips and donations are always welcome. So whether you're a Patreon supporter or whether you are not a Patreon supporter, but you still just want to be able to help send any contributions through PayPal, please feel free to do that. The support from there helps support the creation of these spaces. And of course, it helps support both myself and Lacey and her family and all the magical things that are coming into the future for us. And yeah, again, shout out to Lacey, who is here with us today. And Lacey actually, again, is part of what helped make this possible. Lacey and I both created these questions together. And Lacey will be here both as a participant and maybe like a bit of a co-host here and there as well. And also Cooper. Shout out to Cooper. Lacey's the dog who's sitting on Lacey's lap right now. So beautiful. And yeah, before we get started, Lacey, do you want to maybe, is there anything you want to share just before we get into this? And then I'll just kind of guide us through the opening questions and stuff like that. So Lacey, yeah, if you want to share anything from your heart about, what to expect tonight or anything like that, feel free.
Sure. Yeah. I'm not sure if you can hear me. I haven't tried my microphone yet.
Yeah, it's good. It's good.
Hi, Cooper. Hi. Yeah, I'm just really excited to be here. I don't always get the opportunity to come and be with all you guys. It's really cool to join in on Brendon's world. So yeah, I'm just excited to be a part of this and get a chance to dive deeper into my own heart space. I don't always get to in my daily life with how busy I am. I'm sure people can relate. So yeah, I'm really happy to be here. Yeah.
So wonderful. Well, thank you again, Lacey. And yeah, I'm excited to be able to see what it is that we create out of this. And again, as we go through this journey is going to be one that's going to, again, kind of like help you see things from a different perspective. It's going to be one that's going to, like bring up things that may be challenging for you as well. But then we'll also be talking about it. But then also the intention within this is to really be able to help us like align, like envision and align like with our best timeline, whatever that means to you, to really be able to come out of this just being like, ooh, like maybe I move some energy, maybe I just feel like really just kind of like clear. But again, just allowing you by the end of this to just feel like whatever you, quite frankly, whatever you need to feel. But we hope that it's something that will, by the end of this, you feel like a little bit more inspired, a little bit more motivated, a little bit more clear, a little bit more supported. So again, we're all spiritual seekers. That's one of the phrases that I really like to be able to use when people are just like, like, what are you? Are you like, what religious belief are you? And I'm like, I'm a seeker. That's what I am. And that's what I think many of us are. We're learning through the experience of the journey as well. So that's what this is. This is a spiritual seeker support circle. And this is really, I mean, I could have called it like a human being support circle, but nonetheless, we'll be talking about things again, kind of like from the perspective of like spiritual ideas and everything like that. So thank you again, everyone, so much for being here. And again, for those of you who are just joining in, you guys are welcome to just kind of like tag along, and we'll be moving into the first question. So as we do this again, I'll just kind of ask the question, and then I'll just kind of like go into a little bit of quietness. And then from there, if anybody wants to like just kind of like share from their heart, we'll do that together. And there doesn't have to be like too much silence between, but I do encourage you to, before replying, just take a moment to listen, like hear what it is that you say within your heart. And then when you feel called, you can share within the circle. You can just kind of gently raise your hand and we'll pass the talking stick to you. And you may not even fully know what you will say until you start sharing in the circle. So this is all just practice. This is a safe space. This is an intentional space. And this is a space to be able to help support each other. So thank you again, everyone, so much. And again, for those of you in the future listening to this on the recording who are members, thank you as well. And for those of you who are not already on the memberships and everything like that, again, enjoy the first portion of this recording, and be sure to check out the membership to be able to get access to the full recording as well, plus future ongoing Spiritual Seekers events. So, all right. So the first question that we have, and before we even do that, I just want to be able to invite all of us to just kind of like, just take a couple breaths here. So before we even get into that first question, let's really just drop into our heart space. So if you guys just want to take a moment here, just inviting you, just kind of arrive into where you are. Just take some nice, soft, gentle breaths. Nice, soft, gentle exhales. Just allowing the breath to naturally unfold as we just kind of feel the softness of this moment. And just inviting gratitude into our heart, gratitude for yourself for being here, gratitude for the circle, gratitude for the support and wisdom we share, and gratitude for the wisdom that arises through your heart that you'll get to experience tonight. And so as you gently breathe here, we'll just kind of maintain this awareness throughout this experience. And when you're ready, you can gently just open your eyes. All right. So the first question, this is a very, very powerful question. And every question that we have here, again, has like an intention to it. So I'll ask the question, take a moment to just kind of think about it. And then if you want to share, feel free to raise your hand, and then we'll go from there. We'll chat a bit, and then we'll go into the next discussion topic. And we'll try to spend maybe just a few minutes on each one. And we'll just be mindful of the time. And again, we'll be wrapped up here within about 2 hours. So the first question is, what do you want more of in your life? What do you want more of in your life? And so again, with any of these questions, it's going to be very subjective, right? Like how you choose to answer that. And again, just inviting you to just kind of like connect with your breath, listen. So allow me to just kind of be quiet for a minute and give it about 30 seconds. And if someone feels eager to be able to share in the next little bit, you guys can do that. And even as somebody else is sharing, I encourage you guys to keep journaling, keep reflecting. And then from there, we'll move into the next topic as well. So what do you want more of in your life? could be a lot to this answer, right? Like even if you're just doing like short form kind of phrases, right? It could be something where you're writing it in full sentences. It could just be kind of like individual words. So give it about 20 more seconds. Then if someone wants to share, feel free. What do you want more of in your life? Okay. Quick note. If I'm typing on my computer, do you guys hear me typing? I just want to make sure that's not distracting. No? Okay, good. Because I'm like writing in my notepad as well. So, okay. So what do you want more of in your life? I'm willing to not go first. So if anybody else wants to be able to share, we'll pass it over to Selomon first. And then from there, anybody else, just raise your hand. Anybody who's not on camera, maybe you can just say like, I'd like to share in the chat, or just wait to in between and we can pass it over to you. So Selomon, welcome to the circle. And if it's your first time talking, feel free to just introduce yourself, say your name and everything like that. So Selomon, go ahead and share. What do you want more of in your life? Welcome.
Thank you. Hope you can hear me okay.
Yeah, it's okay.
Good. So I wrote down words specifically. Focus was the first thing that came into my mind. Self-love, gratitude, and a big one, confidence. I think having, more confidence would just be super good for everything,
Beautiful. Awesome. Thank you. Thank you, Selomon. Wonderful answer. Lacey, we can pass it over to you next.
So I put fluidity. So I guess what I meant by that is like feeling less stagnation and more flow in my life. So things coming to me easier, maybe. Stability, peace, abundance, silence. I have a noisy life, so, more meaningful connections, heart expanding experiences that help me grow, whether that's not so nice, but also, leading me on the path to being the better version of myself. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, Lacey. Again, just kind of as we're doing this, we can just kind of like chit chat, but it's interesting because again, I'm sure what we'll experience tonight is other people will say things will be like, oh, like that's really interesting. Maybe I didn't think about that, but I did like what Lacey said. It's a very powerful perspective to kind of approach things where it's like, what do you want more of in your life? It's like, what if you're literally like, it's like, I actually want more of those quote unquote challenges, the things that won't always be easy. Yeah, I do want easy things. But then I also want the harder things that I know are going to help me grow. Like, I think that perspective, it changes your relationship to those things, and not having that resistance is actually like, it changes the way you experience whatever that quote unquote challenge may be. Lacey, did you want to expand on that at all? And then we'll pass over to the next person.
Yeah. Like, I think definitely with all things, like finding this balance between, a peaceful life, but also a life that, because with anything, like having things like just come to you all the time doesn't leave a lot of room for expansion necessarily. So for me, it's like I'd like to be able to flow, like the fluidity, and navigate both those spaces with grace. And like, yeah. So, which I feel like I'm already implementing the best that I can, but I definitely would want to invite it more, especially with my life changing quite rapidly in the next 4 months. So, yeah.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you, Lacey. Whoever would like to go next, I'm just making sure I can see all the cameras, and anybody else who would like to be able to share on this one. Again, what would you like more of in your life? And this is just the first question. So if you're still just easing into things, no worries. So Kristen, yes, please go right ahead.
I wrote more conversations with inspired people, and people being connected with their infinite nature, and synchronicities, and more personal surrender to the divine plan. And adults with big inner children. because that's something that I treasure and want to see more of. So yeah.
So you said adults with beginner children. Is that what you said?
Adults with big inner children.
Adults with big inner children. So like connecting to like the inner play and the inner awe and the inner wisdom. Is that what you mean?
Yeah.
Oh, that's really special. I like that. I like how specific those answers were as well. Very, very good. So anything else you want to expand on before we pass it around?
No, that's it.
Cool. Awesome. Well, thank you. Thank you again, Kristen. Anybody else who would like to be able to go next on this? What do you guys want more of in your life? And again, I'll keep an eye on the chat as well. Just so we can kind of, if anybody wants to like share anything in the chats, we can read those on air if you wish. So anybody else, last call before we move on to the next question?
Hi.
Oh, yeah. Who's Alicia? There you are. Okay.
Hi, guys.
Okay, go ahead, Alicia.
Yeah, I love what I'm hearing. Thank you so much for sharing, everyone. Similar to what Lacey was kind of speaking of, just more balance in my life of like integrating, this changing and evolving version of myself with like fading systems, and finding integration, right? How do I make all the components work? Because there's a real disconnect right now. So yeah, more balance, so I can be more connected with other people, because I'm a bit of a shut-in right now. Anyways, thanks, guys.
I'm glad you're here. This is again kind of like a big kind of like yes to the universe, just kind of like being a part of these discussions. Because I think again with a lot of these discussions, it's like you don't really have to know all the answers right away, but at least if you can kind of like begin to envision what it is that you want, then kind of like the path almost reveals itself to you in some ways. And again, just from here, I want to be able to invite everyone, and even if you're not like sharing from your own thing at this point, just before we move into the next question, if anybody does just want to be able to share anything relative to what we've talked about here, whether it be a response to what anybody else has said so far, if there's something that you resonated with, please, by all means. And even if you just want to unmute yourself, I may not see your hand right away. Please go ahead. Lacey, I think your mic's open. Yeah, go for it. Yeah. And thank you again, Alicia.
Yeah, thank you, Alicia. I feel that so much. And I mean, we're living in a world that is constantly changing, and change is good. So yeah, it's definitely finding that inner peace and helping you get there. And it's so nice to be here with all you guys, because having support, this is what this is all about, is having people that you can relate to, and just be able to share these thoughts, these deep inner thoughts. I love what Kristen said about play, and I think that's like, something that I cherish and I love so much as well. So it's cool to hear other people talking about things that I'm like, yes, like I want more of that in my life. Right now, I'm very much a hermit. I'm in hermit mode, which we all go through, and which means, a new version of me is being birthed. And I just can't wait to get out there and play more with people. And, Brendon is, his inner child is so sweet. So like, I just love interacting with that. Another thing I wanted to add to this that I didn't was more time with my son, who, if you know children, like just being around kids, they naturally bring that out of you. Like you're able to see your child self through your children or through your nieces or nephews or whoever you have a close relationship with. So like, being able to spend more time with him, I think would be really, really meaningful for me moving forward into the future. So I didn't share that on there, but yeah. So I just love what everyone's saying. It's really cool to hear everyone. So
that's awesome. Thank you, Lacey. And just for context, like Lacey, you're referring to your 6.5-year-old son. Now where it's like we got two sons. Yeah, like not everyone fully knows that.
I'm a mother too. Yeah, I have a 6.5. He's almost 7. He'll be 7 in January. Yeah. And children at this, between the ages of 6 and 8, like they're going through like this big identity shift, becoming their own person. He's still very much like close to me in a lot of ways, but also finding his independence. and which I fully support. But while he's doing that, I also am trying to find this like other connections with him, as you know, Brendon, because we're in
Absolutely.
it together, and it's been such an amazing journey to share my life with Brendon and my son with Brendon. So yeah.
And just reiterating that, and then I'm going to pass it over to Cassie. I can see your hand up. Like, yeah, absolutely. Like, I would say the same. Like, spending time with your son is very important to me, and with that, you know, it's really helped me kind of like step into more of this like father dad role for myself. So it's been very interesting. Obviously, we have like a newborn on the way, but I was kind of put in this scenario where it's like, okay, before that, try being a dad to a 6-year-old first. So a lot of people don't know this. Like, I've been a stepdad for Lacey's son for over a year now, just about, and it's been incredibly transformative for all of us. And absolutely, like, he helps me grow in a lot of ways. Just being around that is really, really special. And I would hope that, you know, for all of us, we just get the chance to be able to learn from any of our family members in that way. I think that's like, for me, like, I would say, you know, just real quick, just kind of sharing things I want more of. I wrote down, you know, again, just kind of simple things like joy, love, focus, creativity. But then a big part of that is family. You know, I think oftentimes we kind of get so busy that we'll just kind of get into this mode where family almost gets put to the backside. It'll be like, I gotta get the bills paid. I gotta do this. I gotta get to errands. I gotta get to meetings and stuff like that. And then suddenly it's just like, oh man, like, when was the last time I like sat down with my family members and really just, because maybe you've done it so many times before that you almost take it for granted. But I think, from my perspective, like, family should always, to the best of our ability, should always come first. Maybe it doesn't always get to, maybe it's a privilege that it gets to come first. But I feel like, you know, if we can really just begin to invite that in, and that can be within our interpersonal relationships. And I would say one thing that I want to be able to have more of in my life is presence, like presence with people, with the present moment. This right now, like, this is us practicing presence with each other, and I hope that even just, you know, by you guys being here today, it kind of invites more of that awareness into you, where you leave this meeting and you're just like, wow, okay, I'm gonna intentionally start bringing more presence into my moments, whether it be with another person, with myself, with my breath, whatever the case may be. So Lacey, thank you again. And Lacey, quick side note, if you can just maybe just tilt your camera up a little bit, it's kind of cutting off the top of your head.
Yeah, I can't see myself, so.
Okay, fair enough. All good. Yeah, that's better. That's good. Cool. All right. Lacey, thank you again. And I know there's a lot of people that want to be able to share it. Suddenly it's like the first question just becomes a 1-hour podcast. Let's go through this, and then in the next couple of minutes, we'll move into the next question. So Cassidy, if you would like to be able to share next, please go ahead. You can unmute your microphone and we'll pass it over to you, and welcome as well, Cassidy.
All right. Thank you. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. I'm not gonna be able to stay too long, so I still have a house full of children and people here, but I basically want to have more grounding time in my life. I feel like I live a lot in my head and don't always take the time to be as connected with everyone and everything. During the warmer weather, I spend a lot of time outside and in my garden and stuff, and trying to be at one with things. And in the winter time, it's a little harder. So that's pretty much what I'm working on to have more in my life right now, is that feeling of connectedness and being grounded.
Very special. All very, very important. So yeah, no, it's interesting how like winter is just like, it's like, go practice being with nature in the middle of winter. Just be like, ooh, like, how do we get to do that? So yeah, but hermit mode's a very special time of the year as well. So yeah. Cassidy, anything else you'd like to share before we pass it over to the next person?
No, not right now. Thank you.
Thank you, Cassidy. All right, we'll pass it over to Kyle. Kyle, I can see your hand up. And then if there is anybody else, let us know. Otherwise, we'll be going on to the next question momentarily. Go ahead, Kyle. Welcome.
Hey, how's it going, everybody? Thanks for having me, Brendon. The things I want more in my life would be like community, or like more experiences with community and other people, and growing my circle. You know, like with experience, maybe some more direction, some more leadership in my life, and awareness of my patterns. And that's all I came up with for now. Sarah said freedom.
Freedom. That's Sarah, great answer. That was actually like kind of what I was thinking about. It's just like, I feel like that's actually what we all want. Freedom to be able to do everything else that's on this list. So yeah, I would say freedom is kind of like something that we all sort of strive for. And that could be financial or creative, or, you know, just time to be able to, like we said, spend with our loved ones as well. So Kyle, thank you. Candice, thank you for joining. Candice, I know you joined a little bit late. I'm just going to reiterate just for the question. Candice, we're going through with questions right now. The question that we asked for the group is, what do you want more of in your life? Well, so if you want to share that now. Yes, go for it, Candice.
Share for now. What I would like more in life is connection and sharing, just sharing with people that are come around me, and yeah, and just mostly connection. And I love being around children and kids. That's me.
Awesome. Thank you, Candice.
Creation.
Beautiful. Well, Candice, thank you again, and thank you again for being here. I'm glad you were able to join. So
I won't miss it.
I know you. All right. Okay. So we'll keep things moving along here. Again, I know there's a lot to be able to share on this. Last call on anybody who might want to just share on this one before we get into the next question. And there's quite a few questions, guys. We'll do our best to go through them, but who knows? Maybe this will be another 5-hour broadcast. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. Hopefully not. So in some way, I don't mind if it would though. Okay. Nobody else, I think. Okay. All right. Okay. So let's move into the next question. So next question, I'm going to ask you this. And again, same thing, take some time, reflect, don't answer right away. And then we'll open up the mics. The next question is, what do you want less of in your life? What do you want less of in your life? So yin and yang, is this question, how does this question differ from the last one? Where does this take your mind? Where do you go when you think about this? Give yourself a moment to really just kind of, again, not just think with your head, but feel with your heart, listen to your heart. What do you want less of in your life? And we might not spend as much time on this question, and then we'll get into the next one as well. So
can I go? Because
sure, Candice. We'll go ahead, Candice, and then
friction and conflict. That's me. That's it.
Very good answer, Candice. Okay, and we'll just give it a little bit of silence here, just give you guys a chance to kind of reflect. I'm just going to take my own notes as well. So, and anytime when we're not talking, just kind of like breathe, meditate. Like this entire experience for you can be like one big meditation if you let it. So. Okay, about 15 more seconds, and then if anybody wants to share, just go ahead and gently raise your hand. Okay. If anybody feels called to share, let us know. And again, anybody who might not be on camera, if you guys want to just type in the chat or just feel free to unmute your mic. It's okay. We'll facilitate. So Indre, yes, Indre, go ahead. What would you like less of in your life? And just double check your mic. No, we can't hear you yet. You're still muted. We'll just give it 2 seconds there. So there we go. Now we can hear you.
Yes, you can hear me?
You're good.
Okay. So first of all, I wrote confusion, overwhelming energy, and I wrote fighting, and meaning like inner and outer fighting. So inner thoughts and inner energies, when like it's also like melting with the confusion. So yeah, I would rather have less of that.
Very good answer. I like that. Again, when I hear you guys answering questions, it kind of like, I'm just like, oh, like I didn't think about that. I want that too. But yeah, I love that. Indre, thank you again. And did somebody else raise their hand? Yes, Eloiss, go ahead, go for it. Yeah.
Awesome, thank you. So I wrote down that I would like less judgment, and I meant that in both kind of both myself onto others and then others like judging me. So kind of both ways there, but I think it kind of starts like with us or like individually and being able to lead from that and just checking in where I am maybe where I have like maybe internal biases or I am subconsciously like judging something, and just be more aware of that and being able to tap into that maybe and try to lead from a place of more acceptance for everyone in all situations.
Thank you, Eloiss. Very, very powerful. So, okay, well, we'll just keep things moving along. I'm not always going to put anything in between each one. So we'll pass over to Mathew. We can pass over to you next. So Mathew, when you're ready, go right ahead and welcome.
How you doing?
Happy to have you here, man. Doing good.
Man, thanks. I appreciate this. This is great. I like that. Yeah, really grateful. What I'd like to have less of is belly fat, fatigue, and anxiety too. But the first ones that jumped out were belly fat and fatigue.
Well, man, it's again, and just us speaking this, like, again, the whole point of us asking these questions is for us to really just kind of like put that intention out to the universe. And so I think it's always kind of like a holistic thing where it's like, you know, sometimes it's like our physical vessel isn't just something that we literally just fix by jumping on a treadmill or running around the block. It's like, it's the mindset, it's the emotions, it's the energy and everything like that.
I found by putting a lot of emphasis on my spiritual and the emotional and mental health, I got away from my physical health a bit too. So now I understand the mind-body connection. So it's like, it is a holistic approach. I have to combine all four.
Well, dude, good for you, man. We're like, I think everybody here is, again, we're all advocating, again, healthy lifestyle and yeah, man, like, you got this 100%. So.
Yeah, for sure.
Awesome.
Thanks, man.
Thank you, Mathew. Kyle, go right ahead.
Oh, I forgot. I raised my hand.
Oh, was that from before? Oh, go for it anyways if you got it.
No, I just put it up because I was,
Okay.
Also, Matt, I can probably help you with that if you just, send me a link on Facebook. I can give you some tips when it comes to carnivore breathing and different things like anxiety and you get more energy, like build your mitochondria up. What I want less of in my life is bullshit and uncertainty. Sarah, she says less distractions. I'm pretty big distraction.
I like that. That's good. Anything else, Kyle or Sarah? Sarah, did you want us? Sarah's good?
No, I'm okay.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
I think that's a great answer. That was actually, again, kind of like relative to mine is like this idea of like distractions. So it's like kind of even the first one, it's like, what do you want? For me, it was like focus was one of that. But like with that, again, it's like distractions is kind of, again, the cause of the effect. So I can definitely relate to that one. So thank you, Kyle, and thank you, Sarah, as well. So who else would like to be able to share? Lacey, go ahead, and then Selomon after that. Yep.
So I put, I would like less of my intrusive thoughts. So letting my obsessive compulsive disorder lead me versus my true inner self lead me. Be holding on to other people's pain as if it were my own, which I tend to do quite a bit of. I'd like to learn how to stop doing that. Stress, uncertainty. The biggest one would definitely be worry because I'm such a worrier. Bad habits, and using them as a crutch to avoid uncomfortable feelings.
Thank you, Lacey. Selomon, we'll pass it over to you. And then again, if anybody has anything that might just be a reply to anything that's been said, that's totally fair as well. We can get into that. Selomon, go ahead.
I also have distraction. That was a big thing that I wrote down. Shame, guilt, overthinking everything I say and do, because I often will get really worried and about how I'm perceived by others. So letting that go, I think, will help me a lot. Overanalyzing, I seem to, like I said, kind of overthink things and overanalyze situations. And there's times where I'm up and down with it, with like leading with just that authentic self and just trusting and having confidence in what I do and what I say. But right now I'm a little more down, so just being able to do what feels right, to do what feels authentic and true in my heart, and trusting in that, and letting go of the anxiety, and letting go of worrying about what others think, especially after I smoke.
Very, very honest. Thank you, Selomon. And again, I think there's so much there that's relatable. Again, like the idea of just kind of like self judgment and overthinking and everything like that. It's beautiful, again, just to be able to invite people into this space where we can share a little bit of this vulnerability. But then as we do that, suddenly everyone's just like, oh, whoa, like are we all experiencing this? And I think there's so many things where it's just like maybe we hold some shame about even being able to talk about the things that we may be struggling with, or may judge ourselves for as well. So just talking about it takes a lot of strength. And Selomon, thank you again for sharing that and sharing that vulnerability, and with that strength as well. So awesome. Thank you, Selomon. Appreciate everybody here. So Kristen, go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to send hugs to Selomon for that, and also Lacey, because I think worry is a big epidemic in itself. And what I wrote for mine was less loyalty to my inner critic when it arises. So just trying to turn off, like I've been consciously trying to turn off the word should in my brain, like you should be doing this, I should be doing that right now, rather than saying should, being like, what am I going to do? Like, what am I going to choose to do, rather than letting my ideals tell me that I'm not good enough in order to try and motivate me to do something, which is great that the voice isn't as loud as it used to be. So that's positive. But it's an offshoot of that worry aspect that we get into. And I also wanted to share a quote that I used to have on my mirror for ages, which I saw on a friend's fridge, that said, worry is a misuse of imagination. And when I saw it, I was just like, yes, I need that drilled into my mind, because I grew up with a mother who was very entitled about her worrying, like, I'm worried, like kind of being proud of the fact that she worries so much, and that it's actually something that we should all be doing, and unprogramming that and peeling away from that to be like, oh, worry is actually not an admirable quality. It's not actually helping me. It's actually paralyzes me more than gets my ass into gear, kind of thing. So I just wanted to share that, because worry came up with both of you, that quote, because sometimes it's good to swap out like just worry background noise with a catchphrase that can catch us before we kind of roll with it for too long. So
thank you, Kristen. Indre, I just saw your comment in the chat. Did you want to reiterate what you shared in the chat?
Can you hear me well?
Yeah, it's okay.
So what I really wanted to say, and it's beautiful that you're sharing this, and when Lucy said it, I already wanted to say that she said that I'm a warrior. And because it's like, in a way, it's like being a warrior on its own, because we are warriors here. We are spiritual seekers, and like, we're always being like guided, and we're divinely guided, and it's easy to worry in the world, like big division and big contrast. But yeah, I just wanted to say that it's beautiful because we are warriors, and I think it's natural and beautiful, and we have to like catch ourselves worrying and shift it towards being a warrior.
Very well said. Kristen, do you want to reply or anything like that? I mean, you guys say no. That's okay. Cool. Thank you, Indre. All right. Okay. The next question will kind of like relate back to this, so we can move into the next question as soon as we're ready. But does anybody else want to be able to share on this? Again, the question being, what?
Yeah, I want to jump in.
Do you want less of in your life? Yeah, Neil, go for it when you're ready, dude.
I actually am gonna head out after this because I'm really tired of a long day. So I just want to jump in real quick and say, like, for me, definitely anxiety. And you know, I used to have a lot of anxiety, especially when I was go up and perform before things and before publicly would speak. And someone once told me, you know, anxiety is just energy. It's up to you to polarize it. You know what I mean? So I've had that in the back of my head ever since then. And now I've been able to channel my anxiety for more, you know, creativity. But at the same time, it still comes up, and sometimes it cripples me. Like anxiety is like my biggest enemy at times. It really does stop me from being able to produce. Like I have a couple of days where I can't even do anything just because of that. So, and I relate to everybody here and what they're saying in regards to this, but I just want to say before I head out here about what do we all want. I just wanted to mention that it was so interesting to me that not only was everybody saying this, but also commenting in the chat of a deep connection, right? And that's exactly what I want. Like, I want deep connections with people on the soul level, and just to have my soul filled from that, not only connection with them, but I equally want that same connection with myself. And I just, I feel really like grateful to just be hearing this from all of you guys, and just knowing that we're all at the same place, because after, you know, being in a world full of duality and so much division, what do we need? And we need to reconnect, you know what I mean? So that's all I just want to say. So thank you everybody for being here and just being so vulnerable, and just like listening to you all has really like just assisted me in these moments. So thank you.
Thank you, Neil. Yeah, again, you know, we're not just chatting here. Like within the process of chatting, we're also like creating the solution. So again, it's like, what do we want more of? Like community, connection, and here we are. Less anxiety. Again, less anxiety. I think literally just being in the co-regulated field of what it is we're creating here. I hope for you guys being here can be, again, this reflective, calm experience. And I'm going to go right into the next question. And Neil, I want you to just kind of take this question with you, even though I know you're about to head out, and just kind of, you know, think about it. The next question, and this relates back, so if anybody missed sharing, don't worry, you'll still be able to share. But the next question is relative to the first two. How will you implement these changes? Be specific. How will you implement these changes? Be specific. So if you might have literally just said, you know, like, what do you want less of in your life? Anxiety. How are you going to implement that change? How are you going to like be specific? So what do you need to do in order to be able to be less anxious? And so again, just kind of giving you some examples. Maybe that means you're going to meditate more, spend more time in nature, hang out with certain people, surround yourself with supportive community, whatever the case may be. So again, just let's sit on that question for a little bit. So this can be relative to the first question, what do you want more of in your life? And the second question, what do you want less of in your life? If there's one or two things out of those two questions, how will you implement those changes? Be specific. Don't just hold on to the idea, the steps in between. That's what's going to get you there, right? So make it practical. So take a few moments here. Neil, peace out, dude. Thanks again. So let's just take a moment in silence and just kind of reflect on that for a bit. How will you implement the changes? Be specific. It's about 20 more seconds, and then if anybody wants to share, we'll go from there. So with this question, it's actually really cool because for all of us here, like one of the answers to this question, like how will we implement these changes? We're doing it right now. Journaling is so powerful. Taking this time to be able to reflect and to be able to ask ourselves this question is so powerful. And that's why, I think there's a lot of value in this space, because I think a lot of us, we are literally just kind of like, so in our routines and everything like that, we don't take the time to ask ourselves these questions. So for us to be able to be here as a group where myself or someone else can kind of prompt these questions, and we're in this space, we have nowhere else to get to right now, unless you do, but that's okay. But just giving yourself this opportunity to really just journal and to be able to talk, to be able to kind of speak these words into reality, like that's actually a big part of the change, to take it from just an idea into something tangible. There's the action, the material process that kind of brings things into a crystallized form. So again, this can be a very practical way to just kind of like get more clear to the universe on how you're going to make these changes in your life. You can say like, oh, like I want to be more courageous, but just saying that and just thinking that isn't going to make you more courageous. It can, but how am I going to be more courageous? I'm going to do things I haven't done before. I'm going to make a video about talking about something so-and-so. Candice, we'll pass it over to you. So again, the question, how are you going to implement these changes? Be specific. Go ahead, Candice.
I'm going to say how I'm going to implement how I'm going to implement the changes is do it through an art piece. So I haven't done it yet, but I'm going to put it out there. And I just want to say that all of you that are here tonight and whoever else sees it, you'll be able to see it because I'm gonna put it on Instagram. So that's how I'm gonna implement
beautiful
my change, cause to share, because I'm about making a difference. That's me.
There you go. Thank you, Candice. And for everybody here in the Zoom, I did just share Candice's Instagram. So let's give Candice a few more follows there when you guys get a chance, and check the show notes for this in YouTube. For those of you in Zoom on the future, I'll include everybody's Instagram. And then if you're looking to make sure you're connected afterwards, feel free to do that. And even if you guys want to share your own Instagram handles in the chat as we're doing this, that's totally fine as well. But I'll do my best to relay the links. Candice, thank you. Let's keep things moving along here. I'm just double checking. I think Indre's got their hand up. Anybody else who wanted to be able to share on this? You guys can share in a minute. Indre, did you want to share? Your hand's still up from last time, or is it? Yeah, go ahead, Indre. Yeah.
And I wanted to say thank you for Candice. I will for sure follow and see the art. Okay, so what I wrote, and we're also doing it now, it's connecting with people, like-minded people and open-hearted people, and being able to share and speak up what I feel and my thoughts, and not making excuses anymore, because I used to make a lot of excuses why I shouldn't do it. So that's the step that I'm taking. And I wrote down journaling as well, because why I wanted to say it out into existence, because Brendon said that journaling is good, but also using your voice, it's beautiful as well. So yeah, but mainly just saying yes to new opportunities, connecting with people, and not making excuses anymore.
Very powerful. Thank you, Indre. Just double checking here. I can see Joel, you have your hand up, so we can pass it over to Joel next. Joel, thank you so much for joining, and welcome as well, brother. When you're ready, go right ahead.
Cool. Thank you, and it's a pleasure joining everybody. And yeah, I guess some of the things to implement, more balance of activities, as well as to less that I don't want of, like I guess, like fear of opening up to people and sharing about myself. And I guess I wanted more nature and balance of, let's say, yoga, stretching, and qigong in my life, as well as the things that I enjoy. So just like creating that schedule that will also, I wanted to spend less time on my phone. So it's like having that schedule will really create the balance, as well as take me away from that, as well as I wanted to be less scattered. So the schedule and really getting all of the activities down at once will lead to better habits, and the habits they always just work for themselves. And I guess being more participating in different group activities and community, and being more accountable to my word when I'm saying that I'm going to be somewhere for places. Yeah, that's all I want to share. Thanks.
Awesome. Thank you, Joel. I definitely like everything you said there. I resonate with it a lot. And I think, again, for a lot of us here, bring it back to the practical, having routines, having schedule, having that focus, having that accountability, having the community that keeps us accountable, and having the community that gives us a chance to be able to practice kind of gently doing the things that we don't always get a chance to be able to do out in public spaces. Like Joel was saying, just kind of sharing a little bit more about ourselves as well. So Joel, that was awesome, dude. I love just, again, the practicality of what you said. So thank you again, Joel. Beautiful. All right, let's keep passing it around. I'm just double checking. I know Alicia and anybody else, Lacey. So Alicia and then Lacey. Go ahead, Alicia. Yeah,
there we go. What an awesome journal prompt. And Joel, yeah, we're on the same page, very much so. And I kind of, the earlier question is what do you, where do we need to bridge the gap? And resistance came up, resistance to the unknown or new versions of myself. There's just resistance. So, and part of it is a scattered kind of not enough direction in my day or vision. So I'm going to take action and do a step-by-step kind of routine with a few key elements of what I need in my day to stay balanced, and maybe even make it a check off ritual I can celebrate at the end of the day. Oh, I got out in nature. I sang a song. I got up and did my affirmations. So I am going to take action to bridge this gap and do some sort of poster guide that I can follow.
That's great. Again, I love, it's important to remind ourselves that everybody kind of has our own learning styles. I think that's maybe the phrase, but for some of us, it's we're very visual oriented. So if that means creating a big Bristol board every day, you wake up, you're looking at it, it's right there, and you just make that routine where it's okay, have that checklist. And I think what you said there as well, Alicia, is very important, is having that reward, creating a little bit of that fun in that play where it's yeah, you know what, today I'm gonna make sure that I do a little bit of those chores and those exercises and really create those blocks for me to be able to create those tasks. And then within that, I'm also going to schedule in as a part of my routine, the play and the things that I enjoy and the relaxation. So, getting things done isn't literally just, this list that just is so full of all these productive things. It's the rhythm of it. So it's a little bit of work, a little bit of play, a little bit of work, a little bit of play. So for me, I know that's one of the ways that I love to be able to implement it. Was it it's all work and no play makes Homer go something. I think that's, you guys know what I'm talking about. Anyways, let's keep things passing around here. Lacey, I'll pass it over to you next. And thank you again, Alicia.
I love the practical stuff for sure. And it's interesting because right now I'm implementing a practical thing for my son Jaden, so he can learn his independence and find his way with doing the things that he also enjoys. And so he, because with kids, they're straight to the video games and all of that. So me and Brendon have been trying to implement stuff to to get him more engaged in other areas of his life that he might not always get to. So I think that's a good learning lesson for all of us as well. So I put, excuse me, making a routine for the things I love. So I don't normally do that. I normally make routines for my adulting. So it would be nice to be able to make routine for child, like the child self, Lacey. Like, what does she want to do? And really implementing that. So for me, that would be like dancing. I love to dance and it makes me feel really good. I don't do it all the time. So I'd like to be able to do that more regularly because that brings me closer to my heart and my spirit. I also put journaling. I guess we all put it. We're all journaling right now. Aligning myself with more like-minded people, saying yes even when I'm anxious, and that comes down to like events that we might be going to. I don't necessarily have social anxiety, but since like we've been cooped up for so many years, I just find myself harder and harder to get out. So maybe the next time I get invited out, I will go. That would be good. Also putting myself out there more to be seen and heard through art and song. So that for me is, I think, my biggest, like, it makes me feel so good, but I'm also really afraid to do it. So like, I think if I'm putting that into my routine, so this is like the part of me that I don't always cater to, which is weird because it's like who I really am. So I put that, and then I said like meditation and like exercise, so getting out in nature, all these things that I really enjoy that I don't always make time for. So yeah.
Awesome. Thank you, Lacey. Yeah, and a lot of those things we can do together. Accountability partners, right? Yeah. Absolutely. So I'm looking forward to it. Yeah. Oh yeah. No, it does help having another person, but at the same time, it's just like, and then it's like, or we just end up sitting on a couch playing video games for a long time together, which is, okay. I love it. I love that too. Like, again, it's the balance. So
it's the balance. It's like,
it's the balance. Yeah.
Okay, like, you know, we worked really hard, and like I also enjoy playing video games. Like, there's nothing wrong with that.
Absolutely.
It's just like whatever makes you feel good and isn't, I think,
like distracting from responsibilities.
From reality necessarily. Like, becomes like a bad pattern where you're like always using it. Like I said it before, like bad habits that I use as a crutch to avoid uncomfortable feelings or situations. It's not that I do that a lot, but sometimes I will. I'm sure all of us are super self-aware. So like we'll be, and I'm like, okay, I don't know why I keep doing that, but I keep doing that specific thing. But because maybe I don't want to do what I'm supposed to be doing. So yeah. So I think
very human of you.
Yeah. So. We all do it.
No, that's true.
So
well, thank you, Lacey, and yeah, no, absolutely. Like we gotta make time for those video games, man. I mean, Hyrule's not going to save itself. Let's be real here. So,
and I've been really enjoying that. That has been fun for me.
That's been like connecting with our inner child and stuff.
Yes.
Breath of the Wild, Lacey and I got her a Switch for her birthday, so 2 weeks early, so couldn't hold it back. Anyways, it was a gift for both of us. All right, Indre, thank you so much for joining in. We'll see you around. Have a beautiful rest of your day.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Love you guys.
Bye-bye. Awesome. And yeah, again, for anybody who has to jump out early, that's totally fine. We'll keep things going here. Kristen, did you want to share? Yeah, go for it, Kristen.
I thought what I need to do is to get in touch with people to collaborate with my art, because one of my things was to have conversations with inspired people. So if I can get more involvement from people, that will help that to happen. And also surrendering to the divine plan was to do a weekly meditation surrender practice, which I really enjoy doing. And I just thought I'd share one of my practices that I've done in the past, particularly for women with long hair, because I used to have dreads and it took me a long time to brush them out. And when I was brushing them out, I would just each dread make an intention of what I was letting go of with that with that hair is when you brush dreads out, a lot of hair comes away. And but now that I don't have the dreads, I just will brush my hair. And if there's a particular thing highlighted that week that I feel like is holding me back, it's like, okay, I want to let go of that self-sabotaging thing around this particular context and brush my hair every day. And then at the end of the week, use the hair from the brush to do a bit of a ritual and bury it in the yard to kind of like be like, this is laid to rest here. And it's like infused with your DNA and everything. So it's like quite symbolic. And I mean, guys can definitely do it if they have longer hair or if they get haircuts, to be like, when I get this haircut, I want to intend that I'm letting go some of X, Y, Z. So to let go and surrender into whatever wants to rise next in the space where that thing is gone. Another thing I wanted to just respond to people's like chats about discipline and things, because it's been such a hard line for me, like a hard concept for me, because I'm very in my feminine and my masculine's like very, I've had to do a lot of work to kind of bring it to meet her. And I think a lot of even male energy in the spiritual seeker community is very in touch with the feminine too. And we're obviously all unplugging from the matrix in our own ways, and in that unplugging from the kind of productivity models of capitalism and all that. But we also want to be disciplined and make an impact with stuff that's meaningful for us. So it's like doing the dance between like being in integrity, that there's another way to live, whilst also being organized enough to make an impact, but not shaming ourselves for not being productive enough. And what really helped me was I just never quite was able to connect with the word discipline, even though one of my favorite speakers says that discipline is true freedom, because if you knew that you could do whatever you wanted at any moment and actually do it, then that is freedom. And I was just like, no, I don't want to hear that. I can't relate to the word discipline. But when I swapped it for the word devotion, I was able to really move myself. And on days when I didn't have the kind of vitality to do a lot, it was like, whatever I am going to do, I'm just going to make sure it's aligned with my values. And so I would have a kind of list of what my values were, what I was trying to aim for, what I stood for, and pick something that kind of hit more than one value at once. So even if it was a small task, it kept me in like deeper integrity, which meant that I had more self-esteem to work with whatever I wanted to do next. I wasn't like, oh, I should be doing this, I should be doing that, or this is just a maintenance thing and it doesn't inspire me. So if I could align my bits and pieces to my values, it really helped me keep that momentum. And yeah, when you guys are talking about playing the video games and stuff, it's like, it's totally fine to play video games if it's in accordance with your values. But when we have those moments where like, I'm doing this and I know I want to be doing that, and am I trying to escape like the task at hand? But if we lose that self-esteem because we feel like a failure in the face of our dreams or whatever, we're like, oh, I'm doing that cringe thing. But if we can be like, it's okay, I'm going to do this because one of my values is to play more. And if I can bypass the shame of doing the joyful thing because I'm in integrity in this moment, and that maintains our life force energy so that we can have more to use after that moment. So that
was awesome, Kristen. Thank you so much. It was very, very well said. And yeah, I agree. Like the idea of like devotion is really powerful. And there's something you said there that I think I just want to be able to reiterate, where you talked about like vitality. I think vitality is so important, something that we don't really think about too much. Like vitality is like, it's like our life force, it's our mana, so like, how are we building up our vitality on a regular basis? Because if that vitality isn't there, the will to be able to make decisions won't be there either. And then at that point, every task feels like a friggin' mountain. And not to say there's any shame if that is the case, but it is important to be aware that through the process of intentionally cultivating vitality, suddenly the tasks become a little bit more graceful. And then the routines become a little bit more something that you just kind of start doing as, again, just kind of like you fall in love with the task, even if they may not be easy, because you begin to fall in love with how the outcome makes you feel. You know, it's kind of like one of those things where it's like, oh, like, it's like, I hate running around the block and exercising, but I love how it makes me feel afterwards, or something like that. Or like, oh, I hate cleaning my room, but I love how it feels afterwards. So really begin to kind of like fall in love with what it is that you're working towards, and then kind of like give yourself that gentle love in the process of doing that. But, you know, for each of us here, I think with any of the things that we're trying to do more of or less of in our life, if we can also integrate a little bit more awareness of reflecting and be like, well, you know, what am I doing to cultivate vitality? Again, vitality is something that we cultivate through many means. It's something that we cultivate through our sleep patterns, through our diet, through our exercise, through our breath work, through our interaction with community. Like right now, even just us being here is like charging up our spiritual batteries, our vitality, just by being able to be like, whoa, like this, you guys know what that's like when you get into a conversation. It's like the conversation actually excites you. It's just like you're engaged, you know, it's just kind of like, whoa, this is something that's really sparking my soul in a lot of ways. So I would just encourage a lot of people here, because even for myself with like, you know, it's like, how do I want to make my own changes? One of the things that I wrote down was even just like getting up earlier in the morning. You know, like even Kyle, I know we were literally talking about this the other day. I think Kyle's off camera right now. But yeah, just like the process of getting up in the morning, which means having a little bit more discipline to go to sleep at night, or devotion to go to sleep at night. And then in the process of doing that, you know, suddenly things that I wasn't getting done until afternoon, I'm getting done at like 8 a.m. in the morning. And then suddenly it's just kind of like, you start to kind of like build this momentum. And within that, you kind of implement a little bit of like a reward system for yourself. So it's like, you kind of have to be like almost kind of like your own kind of like support network as you're kind of like in the process of doing things as well. And even when that's challenging, that's where I think having the external support network, knowing that you're not alone, and even just us here, you know, like I hope that for each of us here, as we continue beyond this circle today, you know, let's continue to check in. Let's check in through our Discord server. Let's check in with each other individually. Even this event here that we're doing, I haven't fully decided when the next one will be. It may be something that we might, for a while at least, do every 2 weeks. And then that way it might fit in with even, you know, if Lacey's schedule works that way. And then again, we just kind of have a little bit of this accountability, and we're just kind of like, you know, where have we been? Where are we going? Where are we now type thing. But anyways, I just wanted to mention like vitality, like put that word, like highlight that word in your mind, because if you can bring a little bit more focus to what that means to you and how to be able to cultivate that, I think it's just going to, again, kind of like help frame things a little bit more, at least that's for me, one of the things that really stands out. Did anybody else want to just be able to add in on this? We'll get into the next question. And if anybody has to leave in the next little bit, that's really cool. The next question is actually like a really, really cool one as well. Kyle, did you want to share anything on vitality or anything like that? Or even just, again, kind of what we were talking about in terms of how we're going to do stuff, and then we'll move into the next question.
Yeah, the vitality thing's pretty interesting because, I mean, I'm a huge extrovert. So the pandemic, I was like, yeah, I can handle being alone. Like I don't mind being hermit and stuff. But after a long period of time, I started noticing it gets to me. So then when we have like, you know, the peace market, or we have these things and I'm around a lot of people, more conscious people, where we'll have these conversations, I get so much energy out of it. And then if we don't have one of those for a while, like it'd be like a dip kind of in how I feel. And it's because as an extrovert, I need that energy from other people, from the conversations, and like you're saying, vitality. And what you were saying about getting up early and what we were talking about the other day, I mean, going to hockey, that was perfect. It set me up. The rest of my day was amazing. Like I just felt really good. And it's kind of what I put into how I'm going to implement it was for like my leadership was to like put myself out there more, and for my distraction is to get more organized like everyone else is saying, because again, I've been going with the flow for so long that I have to learn how to create structure again. And I'd like to be more vulnerable when it comes to stuff online and sharing like maybe poetry or my art or things that I keep to myself mostly, or maybe share with Sarah, but that's about it. So I want to start growing that and allowing that to come out more to everybody else.
That's awesome. That's awesome, Kyle. Well, again, our community is like 100% for that purpose. So dude, here to support you 100% of the way. That's awesome, man. Very cool. Very cool. Sweet. All right. I feel like there was something else I was going to say, but it's okay. We'll come back later. Did anybody else want to be able to share on this before we move into the next question? Alicia, yes, go ahead.
Hi, I just wanted to jump in. There's so much goodness being shared right now, and I'm just resonating with all of it. And written down some of the vitality and swapping devotion for discipline, like making that, that shift in my mind. But yeah, we're all kind of touching on very similar points of like structure. And I wonder if this is off the cuff, but if anybody wanted to do like a trial, like, hey, I'll life coach you and you can life coach me, just like a trial run of that, of like, let's set up some, accountability buddy trials. And that's because we're all sharing very similar things here. It's amazing.
Totally. No, absolutely. I mean, yeah, this is kind of like a group kind of coaching thing. No, Candice, Alicia, yeah, if you guys want to get in touch as well, I'll make sure you guys have each other's contacts there as well. And yeah, anybody else, like, please, by all means, buddy up, do it in a way that feels right for you. But no, I love that idea, Alicia. So cool. Candice, was there anything else you want to add in response to that? Wasn't sure, just making sure. And I remembered what I was going to say, so I'll just share that and do that afterwards.
That was it.
Okay, cool. Awesome. Sweet. Alicia, thank you again as well. So the other thing I was just going to say, and again, this is just kind of for everyone, and going back to what Kyle was saying, I think when it comes to being able to like do the things that we're envisioning, I think it's important to be kind of bringing this awareness where like it literally involves like both kind of like this masculine and feminine energy. And sometimes we may notice certain areas within our life where maybe it's been kind of too feminine or maybe it's been too masculine. And what I mean by that is kind of like what Kyle was saying, it's kind of like this idea. It's just like, oh, I just go with the flow. Like whatever the universe brings me, that's okay. And I just kind of do this. And I think we've all been there. But then again, there comes a time where it's just kind of like, is this getting me where I want to be? Or is this just kind of like the waves just kind of rolling me back and forth, and you're just kind of like this thing just kind of flopping back and forth on the shoreline, but you're never going anywhere, right? Instead, bring in that masculine energy and build a boat and sail it off into the direction of your choice. So the masculine energy is a little bit more of that arrow. It's the direction, the feminine is more of the smooth, sway, curvy, flowy. The masculine is there's a destination, I'm moving towards it. Here's my plan, I'm creating a task. Here's my routine, here's my schedule. So it's kind of almost like a Capricorn energy. You create the Capricorn, which is very much like the structure and the routine and the foundation, the earth energy, and then the water energy being the feminine energy. Again, you kind of like root this. And then with that, again, it kind of like creates the space to play. It creates the container for a little bit of more of that spontaneity as well. That for me has always been something very important to kind of like be aware of that and to try and have that balance of again, kind of the masculine and feminine energy, if that makes sense. Does that make sense for you guys in a sense? Yeah. Cool. Yeah, Lacey, go ahead. You can add into that and then we'll move into a next question in a couple minutes.
Yeah, I like that. And I think we all are really coming back to balance. And with masculine and feminine, I find myself definitely, yeah, it's just cool to hear people talk about it. Like, I think about, you're saying Capricorn, and then I think Sagittarius, which I find is quite masculine. And it's like, it's energy, because it's all like this direct force, right? Like getting shit done, right? But we do need to find that balance of listening to both. And I don't always listen to both. I feel like I'm all in one or all in the other. I don't know. So I'm definitely going to listen to that more. So.
Very cool. Very cool. Yeah, no, I think it's a learning process. And I think the most important thing is just kind of being aware and just kind of checking in with yourself. Just be like, maybe that's a journaling question. Just be like, what's my energy like right now? Like, what's my reaction? What's my responses? Am I responding in a very feminine? Am I very masculine? There's neither right or wrong, but just being aware and maybe seeing where there might be a little bit more balance and trying to integrate that. Yeah. Lacey, go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah. I just, what I'm thinking is like, what would be like good examples of perhaps productive feminine, but also masculine? Like what Like if I were going to look at myself and I was going to reflect on that, what would be good examples of that? I'm just putting that out there. I don't know. Like I'm trying to think like.
Well, I think the obvious example, even kind of like what we're doing right here, it's like the masculine energy would be like creating a time and space. And then the feminine energy would be like filling that with a free flow energy, you know? So that would be kind of like even an example, like our flow tree workshops that I do. It's like, okay, we're creating a container and a routine and a time. We're all going to show up. Here's our intention. And then within that actually creates the space for the feminine energy to kind of like come out and play. So for me, off the top of my head, that's kind of like where I balance it, where the masculine is just kind of like envisioning and creating a time and a place, a container, and then pouring in the feminine energy into that. If that's one idea. I'm sure there's many, but
yeah, I think you're making me think of like a chalice, and then like
totally
with a water flowing into it, and you drink the water.
Yeah. Alicia, go ahead. Did you want to jump in on that?
I think you're nailing it. I mean, you're really nailing it where, how do we find the balance? The masculine sets up the stage, the masculine sets up the routine, sets the timeline, and then the feminine energy has its space. So you're really nailing it. It's awesome.
Yeah. And that's where, again, for some of us here, like in your practical routine, if you're creating like a bit of a schedule for yourself, you can say like, okay, between, like when I wake up in the morning between like 9:30 and 10 a.m., like that's my journaling. That's my kind of like brain dump period where just kind of like I check in with my heart. What does the feminine energy say? What is it saying to me right now? What comes through? So it's kind of neat. You can kind of see how they kind of like walk each other. And then the feminine actually inspires the masculine. And they're like, whoa, this was really cool. I'm going to do this again. It's interesting. These energies, they kind of marry each other within our immediate reality as well. Kristen, go right ahead. Yep.
Yeah, just in response to that, Lacey, like with the masculine, feminine, just as a more like a practical example that sparked in my mind when you asked the question is like, if you have a list of things to do and you're aware that so possibly the masculine thing to do would be like, I just need to do this thing at the top of the list for fuck's sake. But then if you're like, well, actually it's not going to cultivate my vitality to force myself into something right now, then to be like, I can't do the masculine right now. What can I do in the feminine is to sit with the emotions that are creating that resistance to doing it. Like, what's coming up for me? Why is this making me feel insecure? And then, so journaling is obviously a very feminine practice, as Brendon said, but it's also like just doing meditation to sit with the emotions of that situation. And then, or like the ritual thing I said with the hair, being like, okay, I recognize that there's this block emotionally, because the feminine's all about that emotional depth. Like it just goes down, down and down. Like it's bottomless if we want to really journey it. So there's always richness in the feminine practice that we can tend to through journaling and hold her. And when she feels held, she feels more creative because she's not being kind of like muffled with a pillow of the masculine productivity model. She's like, oh, I am like held in this. I'm equally part of this. My vessel's going to sit with me in this. And then we get the vitality from being cared for, like caring for ourselves. And then we can approach the list again from the masculine part with a bit less baggage and a bit less anxiety or like self-judgment about the fact that we didn't do it right away, because we've listened to that inner voice and given it the time. And yeah.
Love that.
Thank you.
Write some of this down.
Right. Yeah. Good thing this is recorded. Go back and listen to this. So Kristen, thank you.
I'm taking it.
Kristen, I love your hat, by the way. Just, it's like I've been like thinking that for the last while. I'm just like, man, that hat, man, it's beautiful.
We love hats.
The kitty ears are removable.
No way. Wow, that's awesome. for certain situations, be like, no, this is a non-ear situation, but this next event, that's definitely an ear situation. So anyways, again, I really like what you're saying, Kristen, because again, as we become more aware of these energies within our life, we can begin to see how the masculine holds the feminine and the feminine also holds the masculine. They literally kind of like hold each other, like the yin yang, right? So it's neat to kind of take it from just like an idea into something where we can actually observe these energies within our life just by becoming more aware of them. So Selomon, I'm seeing your comment here. Thank you so much. And I know we'll get right into the next question. And then, if anybody has to leave early, just feel free to let us know. But let's do that. Let's just move right into the next question. And then from there, we'll keep going. So just speaking to the people who are listening to the recording of this in the future. So what we're going to do here, for those of you listening to the recording, we're going to kind of share what this question is. And then after this question, the episode will just kind of like fade out. And then at that point, again, the rest of this episode is available for our Patreon members. So for those of you who have been listening to this on Spotify and on YouTube, thank you so much. And if you guys have really been enjoying this, I hope it's been something that has really served you. And again, the whole experience, we're like almost like halfway through. There's still like a lot more to go, but we'll see how much time allows. And again, if you'd like to be able to just kind of pick up where you leave off in this recording, then go ahead and join on the Patreon. It's $11 a month. With that, you get access to lots of regular community events that we do. And again, the recording of this and all sorts of awesome stuff within our community of conscious creators and spiritual seekers. So go check out the Patreon, see if it resonates with you, and send me a direct message if you have any questions. So we'll share the question and then we'll just kind of fade out. But for everybody, all the members, you guys get the full recording. So we'll just keep going as we go. So the next question, I'll ask it. And then again, just kind of take a moment of silence and then we'll share here together. The next question is, on a scale of 1 to 10, how connected do you currently feel with your spirituality right now? On a scale of 1 to 10, how connected do you feel with your spirituality right now? And right now may mean literally in this now moment. It may, to you, that might mean kind of, encapsulating the last couple weeks, maybe the last month, if you're looking at the bigger picture. However you want to share, however you want to be able to reflect on that, it's very subjective. But again, the question, on a scale of 1 to 10, how connected do you feel with your spirituality right now? So let's just take a moment of silence and just reflect on this. And then after about 30 seconds, I'll invite anybody to be able to share. So just go ahead and take some time. And so with this question, as we talk about it and as you're journaling it, just inviting you to like go a little bit deeper, like why that number? What does that mean to you? And then the next question will also kind of relate back into this. So again, on a scale of 1 to 10, how connected do you feel with your spirituality right now? So let's we'll pass over to Candice. Candice, go ahead when you're ready.
I'll say 9. And why the number 9 for spirituality is because I embody it, like I infuse it into my cells and all my bodies, like spiritual body, energy body, physical body, and also it keeps me grounded, because if I don't, then I get all pissed, then I get all annoyed and pissy. So, if I embody on many levels, I don't feel I don't feel alone. I feel supported. So that's my take. That's it.
Thank you, Candice. And yeah, we'll just kind of keep passing it around here. We might not spend as much time on this question. The next question kind of leads into this. So again, we can just kind of almost do kind of like a quick survey, but if you guys can kind of share like, like why, what does that answer mean to you? Lacey, go right ahead and then we'll pass it to whoever's next after that.
So I didn't really give a specific number. I do feel that I move between the scale. I'm always connected, but not always checking in with my spirituality. It changes from day to day. So I think depending on the challenges that arise, I can either be fully dialed in or not. I mean, spirituality is this kind of subjective thing, and it's different for all of us. So for me, I'm always in my spiritual space, but like whether or not I'm listening. Does that make sense? Yeah. So it's like, I think right now I'm getting more in tune, so maybe closer to a 10, I guess, just based on my circumstances. I feel that I get quite overwhelmed by the noise of the world and by the energies of other people, that I tend to, it muffles my own. Is that, yeah. That's the only way I can explain it. It's like, I feel like I'm always there, but whether or not I'm listening. So it kind of moves between, like a 6, 7 to like a 10, but yeah.
Yeah. Great answer. Yeah. And again, I think, for many of us that may be an answer that kind of like, yeah, like fluctuates. It's, for if it's just like, oh, well, like I'm still making a little bit of time to do some meditation. And when I'm in that meditation, I'm a 9, I'm a 10. But when I'm at work and dealing with drama and stuff like that, maybe, it's on the back burner. But maybe even then, you start to integrate it. It's be like, where am I of my spirituality, even when I'm in those circumstances that don't quote unquote seem spiritual. And with that, maybe that just means, because again, like Lacey said, being spiritual is a quite subjective thing. So at the end of the day, what if being spiritual just means being present, being in our heart? And then even when we are around that noise, like what Lacey's saying, is it possible? Is it possible to literally be, is that something to strive towards, to be like in a 10 every time? And that's kind of like a subjective thing to be able to interpret. Lacey, go ahead and then we'll pass it around. Yeah.
And I know we had a conversation earlier where I talked a little bit about that. And I think as my own personal practice of presence, and I think for me, that is my spiritual lesson, is being able to face these challenging situations with humility and compassion, and like that usually brings me back to my heart space. So it's like this interesting thing. It's like actually going out into the noise can lead me back, but it depends, right? Like, if you got like 5 million things on your plate, or you didn't sleep the night before, there's a lot of things that can affect the frequency, or like, you're like a radio tune, you're like tuning it, and you might, and that's okay. So for me, it comes and goes just like the tide. Yeah.
No, I agree. It's literally just kind of throughout the day, it's kind of like tuning in and out and things like that. So, and then at some points, like even, it's interesting, like we may even tune ourselves out intentionally. It's like, man, I don't want to be 10 all the time. Like, in fact, I want to tune that down. I just need to, you think about this very, very carefully. There are certain things in our life that we do that tune us in, and then there are other things that tune us out. So maybe we're not trying to be tuned in all the time. Maybe that's not actually the purpose of the journey, but it's to be tuned in with intention when we want to be tuned in. And then when we want to just watch a show on Netflix, that's okay. But even in the back of our mind, hey, maybe that's still a spiritual experience, but who's to say we need to put it on some sort of arbitrary scale, right? So anyways, let's keep passing things around here. Kristen, did you got your hand up? Yeah, go ahead. And I'm going to share with you guys kind of the next question right after this, because it actually relates to the conversation, and that will save us a bit of time. So Kristen, go ahead.
I put a 9 because I feel like I'm in integrity with actions that move towards my passions. And I feel like spirituality isn't some destination to get to as much as it is being fully yourself, just becoming home to everything that is, and the kind of possibility and natural inspiration you feel, and being in genuine engagement with that, as well as just being at peace with who this is and being present with it, and not at odds within the self. The more we kind of are honest and aligned with how we live our lives, the more spiritual we feel. And I possibly could have written a 10, but then I was also like, spirituality is like a continuum that doesn't end. So it's really, for me, feels like more of a, you're either engaged.